Welcome to the ride home from the mass genocide of aspen leaves.
Otherwise known as autumn, generally.
Genocide. Leaficide.
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 Now, I am the one in the family. I'm Rachel, by the way. Jeremiah is the dude, and I'm the only one in the family, I think, who likes fall. That's my favorite season.
Yeah, it's your favorite season. Georgia likes the colors. She would have came if she didn't have prior commitments.
Yes.
Well, maybe not, too. She likes being away from us now, so.
She does. It was good to give them some time away from the carbon units who are their parents. Yes. But yeah, this was your idea to head up here for the day. I feel like we did a combo excursion, if you will.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw in a Facebook group they're going to do one pass and then go up to Leadville, then go to another pass. So they're going up Mosquito Pass and then get lunch in Leadville and then take Weston Pass back to Highway 285 in Colorado. And I didn't want to do that. So, well, I did want to do that. It was fun to meet some new people. I never traversed Mosquito Pass. It's a very high, steep, rocky pass, but it's not anything technical to write home about. Spectacular views, though, for sure.
Yeah.
But the group ended up having almost 40 people saying they were going to go. That's 40 Broncos.
Yeah.
Going. And I'm like, and they're like, we're going to split it into two groups of 20, get to the trailhead around 10, head around 10:30ish, I'm like, no. That is insanity. On a day like today, which has been advertised as peak genocide leaf season.
It's leaf peeping season in Colorado because the aspens are full force out, and that makes it just about as busy as any very busy ski weekend or a Labor Day weekend or any kind of really busy mountain traffic weekend. So yeah, that'd be a lot of Broncos in a caravan.
At a time of day when a lot of people will be coming up. We're seeing traffic right now on Interstate 70 just outside of the Eisenhower tunnels because we didn't take Western Pass. We took Independence Pass. How was Independence Pass? We'll get to that in a second.
We will.
The traffic is pretty heavy coming up still, and it's heavy going down. It's just heavy. All right, how was your experience? First off, we took the front tops of the Bronco off because that takes a bit of time. So I did it last night because you have to put them in bags and secure them so they don't bounce around. Make sure they weren't interfering with my tool bag and nothing was getting damaged. How was the first part of the ride in Denver and then in the mountains when we had the top off, but the windows up and the heat cranking?
So it was lovely. It got cold, but that was fun anyway. We both had the gear to where we like you said, you had the heat on. But crystal, almost full moon, clear sky. So we left the house. It was not light yet.
Yeah, pre-dawn.
Yes, and it was actually pretty pleasant out. I think I had my sweatshirt and my hoodie on, with my hood up, and I was fine. And so we stopped for Santiago's. By the way, I will post pictures to all this stuff, including Santiago's. I documented the entire day excessively. I liked it. I kind of like too. I mean, even though it was cold.
This guy's gonna pass on the wrong side and go completely bonkers, super fast.
Yep, the Acura. Yeah. He's
Infinity.
The Infinity. He's infinitely a bad driver. But having the tops off, even when the temperatures did dip, was still pretty amazing because there is just something about being in the mountains or around the mountains and just being able to look up and see. There is just nowhere that has the crystal blue sky we do. So
very few places.
Yeah, it was. So that was really cool. It was awesome, and like you said, I mean, we did fine. It got a little chilly. We both had to layer up at certain points, but it was great. I did really enjoy it, and I loved the sunrise.
Oh yeah, no signal there, Infinity.
Yeah.
I should call out his license plate number for all 34 people that listen to this.
Yeah, it's growing, right? Slowly. Hopefully no one's driving. I wonder if that guy listens. That'd be wild. Be like, hey,
I want him to not listen if he does.
We saw you. You're at mile marker 222 right now. Oh, and I think one of my favorite parts was because we had left early enough, and this is where you were like, you were saying, I don't think we want to go with that group because they're leaving too late.
Yeah.
Was we did get to witness the sunrise right after we'd gotten over Kenosha Pass.
No, the sunrise was before that, but we got to see it in Bailey on the way to Kenosha Pass, on the mountains, just like hitting the gold speckles that are in there. It was quite nice. And then we saw the purple mountains of the song.
Yes.
Oh, geez, it rained here.
Yeah, it did. See, it's a good thing you had top. But no, it was really enjoyable. And we only did just put, like, we've been out for hours. We only put the top on, like, what, an hour
After
ago.
8 hours in.
Yeah, so we had clear skies above us, and yeah, it was cold for a lot of the time, but then, of course, as the sun progressed and as we moved through the state, we experienced some warmer temperatures. So it was great, and it really did make for... I think my neck's probably going to be a little tired tomorrow because I was just angling the whole time, like, whoa! So it was cool. So I would highly recommend the Bronco without the tops on for if you're doing some mountain driving or leaf peeping.
Yeah.
It's very
also, so that was fun. Stopped in Fairplay for pee, breaking, and then topping off fuel. And then the trailhead to Mosquito Pass is outside of Alma, which is about 7 miles north of Fairplay. It's basically where South Park, the TV show, has kind of got its inspiration for it. It's in South Park County.
Yes.
The south part of Park County. So we get to Alma, turn on Mosquito Gulch, Mosquito Pass. How was that? How was your rating of the Mosquito Pass to the top?
It was a bit wild because I know I've been on for off-roading with you. It was so quiet.
We were the only vehicle. Well, there was 2 other vehicles we saw at the bottom, but they were like camping or getting ready or meeting people or something. So we didn't see them. Again.
We passed 2 people on the way up, and then we didn't see anyone else, not one other soul, for over 90 minutes, I think.
Yeah, until we saw 2 vehicles on the way going up the opposite direction as we were coming down from Leadville.
It was cool. It was definitely different than, like, I know we'd done, what was that other pass we did with the Broncos? Red Cone. So once you get up above tree line, of course, it's just rock fields and stuff like that. So it's not a whole lot of vegetation. We were seeing some good color on the way up, and when we did get high enough, basically you look back the way we had come through the valley, and I think I told you, I was like, that view just keeps getting better because you just kept seeing a broader view of the whole valley and more aspen and layers upon layers of mountains. It was very gorgeous. So yeah, it was lovely. And then of course we get to the top of Mosquito Pass, and that was glorious because you can see Leadville down there at the bottom, and I took many pictures, of course. Yeah, it was quite lovely, and I kind of liked the quiet.
It was nice to be alone without a bunch of people, without the radio going off. And
yeah.
Look at this, look at that. Can I need to stop for this and stop for that? It was nice. And this is not a very technical road. There are some spots where you could get into trouble if you didn't have a 4-wheel drive, or you took a car, or even a tall Subaru would have a very hard time getting up on that thing.
Yeah.
You gotta have 4-wheel drive for sure. That being said, that's usually when I'm like, okay, we don't need a whole group. Also, we knew there was going to be 40 others coming up. If we did get in trouble, someone would be like, hey.
Yeah, we were, and granted, we were up there early, but I think had we just waited an hour, someone would have come along because we passed people.
Yeah, so never wheeling alone is one of those things. But this one was a calculated risk, if you will. So on the way up, it's very rocky. Mm-hmm. It's open. We saw a few deer. Didn't know what to do. They were like confused that there was somebody on the road, that we were driving.
So like 2 of them crossed the road and the other one didn't, and he kept kind of flitting around. She kept flitting around, and you at one point said, "Don't run into the side of our car," which is real. That's a real danger, y'all. They will do that. But she didn't, and so we passed and it was fine. And then we saw some little wildlife. What are those things called?
Pikas, I think. The little rodents.
Yep, we saw those, and then we saw these weird thistles that looked like...
Yeah, they're invasive. They're not supposed to be there.
They basically look like something from Little Shop of Horrors, but mountain version, frozen tundra version. But no, it was cool. What did you think of it? Because you'd never been on it.
It was all right. It was beautiful. It was definitely more for scenery than for the drive itself.
Yeah.
As far as technical goes, things like that. I did almost a quarter of it in two-wheel drive, and then decided to take a hard line and got a little slowed down, so then I just put it in four-wheel drive. And then also, it's pretty steep on both sides, so going down, you definitely want a low range, keep it from getting that excessive speed. But, it was good. So now at the top, we get there, we're on the way up, windows down, it says it's like 40 degrees, it's sunny, no breeze. We round this corner into this valley, and it's like ice cold death finger wind coming across, windows up right away. And there's like mining structures down there. It's this beautiful open valley. You can see the few lakes in it.
Yeah.
And now we've hit the traffic. We are stopped before Georgetown. It's going to be like this pretty much the whole way back.
Yeah, which, by the way, for those of you who either live in Colorado, you'll know this already, or for those of you who don't, there are a few rules for living in Colorado. One, always have a water bottle with you can refill because you need to stay hydrated. Two,
hydrate or dehydrate.
Yes. Two, apply sunscreen and reapply it because you are closer to the sun.
For those of you who are melanin challenged.
Yes, it makes a difference, and you should totally do that. Three, never try to drive through Eisenhower Tunnel with a compromised bladder. I have done that before. I was on a girl trip, and I was driving, and one of the girls actually had to pee in a Starbucks cup in my car because we were stuck on Eisenhower. In Eisenhower Tunnel caused traffic for 2.5 hours. And, there's nowhere to pee on the side of the road because it's literally just a guardrail. So,
yeah.
So those are the three main rules. But we are through Eisenhower, but
also,
we're now slowed
never
down.
rub another man's rhubarb.
Never rub another man's rhubarb. So, so that was fun. And we did, because we got started so early, we got down and we were starting to head toward Independence Pass, and it wasn't even noon yet.
Yeah, we had lunch in Glenwood Springs. So we're going to talk about the top still.
Okay, sorry.
You kind of were jumping ahead, doing random things. I said talk about the top.
Talk about the top. You want to keep talking about the top?
So the summit is, 13,000 plus feet.
Sure.
Then it goes up from there. There's a couple of weather stations or mining stations, because there's functioning mines still in that area.
Yeah.
The Monarch mine's like the bottom of the trail, and then there's the Climax mine. They're still pulling minerals out of that whole area of Leadville. It's a thriving business, or an industry, if you will. There's a little story up there. There's a grave at the top of which I did not know. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So if you want to know who that is, you need to go to the top.
That's right.
Visit the grave. But you can see a vast amount of Park County's valley, the Fairplay Valley, and you can see Leadville, you can see Mount Elbert, you can see through Highway 24. It's just this expansive view of two different sides, basically of the continent divide. Basically, it's what it feels like. Very grandiose, and you can see forever. It seems like.
Yeah, it was very worth it. It was beautiful.
That's what the drive's worth. You gotta stop at the top, take some pictures, or just take a look, get your binoculars out. Just kind of enjoy that view that you can't really get too many other places, especially paved places. You don't. Mount Evans and Pikes Peak, you can kind of do that, but this is a lot different.
Yeah, and I think we made that point before with our Red Cone episode. Rarely are people going to be able to get up there, but when you do, you're just seeing a part of Colorado you can't really see from everywhere, so it's super worth it. But yeah, it was lovely. It was gorgeous, and I did ask you at the top, too. I was like, so what's the decline on this? What's the grade? Because I know off Red Cone, we were looking.
It got up to 12.
Yeah, we were looking up to be at 20, but you had made mention, which I thought was pertinent, because it's a two-way going down. It's not going to be super steep.
Yeah, there was a steep section that we didn't take. We should have taken it. It was from first time. It didn't say this is the way down or anything like that. There was no signs, but that's a one-way, and that was a little steeper. It would have just taken a little time off the thing. It was not nearly as steep as, say, Red Cone. I think Red Cone is the steepest in the state at 25 degrees.
Yeah, we kept thinking, are we going to get for 27, 28, 29? Didn't quite get, it was 25. You're right.
Yeah, it's 25.
We never quite got there. Well, at least we didn't. Somebody else on the trip might have.
Yeah, longer wheelbases may have dipped in differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, so we are in stop and go traffic. This is the ride home. So that was the top. So then you can see Leadville, then you just crisscross down. We did encounter two vehicles coming up. That was it. A classic, looked like a 71 Bronco, tricked out, clean, no rust, lifted, a bunch of armor underneath on the drivetrain, and just with that beautiful old 70s V8 engine smell. And then follow him was a Rubicon 2-door Jeep coming up. And they didn't have any problems. And by the time we got all the way down, they were still traversing up. It's this back and forth of just a switchback after switchback to get up the side of this hill.
Yeah.
It's not, I would say, an easy, direct way.
Yeah.
But coming down, gorgeous colors. We're just going to assume that you know this. It was gorgeous colors, whatever. It's not my big deal, but...
It's my big deal.
Yeah. And soon we're down in there, and she's like, oh, there's like paved roads over there. I'm like, we were passing like neighborhoods, basically.
Well, I didn't know. I was like, are we still like in, kind of off-roady territory? And right after I said that, you basically, the road we were on turned into a paved road. I'm like, I guess we're back in civilization.
Yeah, then you end up right at Moe's Barbecue in Leadville, basically.
Yeah.
Then I made a right turn. I should have taken the left at Albuquerque. So
Poughkeepsie. Yeah, so we got on 24 East.
Yeah, and I totally spaced that. I needed to go, towards Buena Vista instead of towards Minturn.
Yes.
My bad.
Yes, but what the intent was, because the next phase was we wanted to go through Independence Pass, which I really love. How do you feel about Independence Pass?
It's definitely grandiose, and I don't know about how it's compares to Weston Pass. However, Weston Pass gets you on your way back to Denver, and Independence Pass took us to Aspen and Glenwood Springs, basically. It took us away from Denver.
Yeah.
But I'm like, we got the early start so we could do something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you go south of Leadville, for those of you who don't know. Then you have to turn on Highway 82. No signs.
Oh, yeah, that was weird. They were like popped out. We had to check the map, and we're like, no, we're right. And then a sign for a little bit in.
Yeah, it was like no turn here for Independence Pass. No 35-foot vehicles not allowed at that intersection, because they're all over the interstate, because there's like a one-way. You can't take a long vehicle on Independence Pass. It's just not possible. But it's a paved road, and it's closed in the winter because it is super dangerous. Avalanches everywhere. It's, pretty epically gorgeous. Except for the two look like maybe, Western Asian persuasion stopping in the middle of the road, looked like to take pictures.
Yeah.
They were like 30 feet from a pullout.
And there were 20 cars behind them. Dude. You're like, guys, no.
You can't pass.
Yeah, I just think so for those of you, again, who aren't used to going on mountain passes, there are places to pull off. You should go to those places if you absolutely have to stop. Do not try, unless you have vehicular damage or a mechanical problem or someone's literally having a seizure or something. Don't try to just do your hazards and go, hopefully everybody's got enough room to get around me. Go to the pull-offs. There's always pull-offs. And yeah, I was like, I'm sure they've got an earful as people were trying to go by them. So They probably learned their lesson.
But yeah, took our time. It's beautiful.
So beautiful.
Windows down.
I can't wait. We just need to hover on the beautiful part.
That's up to you.
It was so, yeah. So like we get on 82 and we get a bit into there. And so there's this beautiful blue, smallish lake. And behind it, you've just got mountain, all this aspen. And then you've got that blue sky above it. It was just perfect. And again, check the blog page for this particular episode. You will see the pictures. This is one reason why, no, I will not move from Colorado unless it is like literally a life-changing opportunity that will make sure I can fly back to Colorado often. But I don't want to leave because it's amazing. We got to do this in one day. And we get to see it, so it's so good. But yeah, it definitely is a balm for my soul. Like I said, I love autumn. Aspens are beautiful. One of my favorite parts of the whole autumnal, as he likes to call it, the leaf genocide, is the red and orange colors.
It's only a genocide because people get joy of the death of the leaves.
Oh my Lord. So anyway, but I love when all those colors mix together. But yeah, of course you get it with blue sky, and then when you see like the gold aspen really contrast up against the dark green pine.
And the crystal blue sky.
Just, it's fantastic. It's breathtaking. And then you losing your breath because, oh my God, we'd rounded a corner and the next one's great. So yeah, so he has driven all day. He said he wanted me to take it in. So I did. I took tons of pictures, got some cool shots just up through our Bronco, topless Bronco as well. So it's been delightful. And yeah, and I'm glad we choose Independence Pass because it never disappoints. It's very good.
Yeah, so that was pretty gorgeous there. And then you end up in
Aspen.
Right. Which is kind of, meh. I ain't that guy.
Aspen trees, movie stars, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. It's like, today's version of the Beverly Hillbillies.
And then that valley all the way down through Carbondale and Basalt is pretty fun. And we stopped for lunch in Glenwood Springs, one of our favorite places.
Mm-hmm.
This is why Independence Pass was all right, because, going to end up in Glenwood Springs. That's one of our best places. We kind of want to retire there, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But the diner that we stopped at, we've always we should always stop there, but we never do. The kids are like, I don't want to stop at a diner. So we stopped there this time.
Mm-hmm.
They got a bar in the back of the diner, so they got a liquor license. And you had what? A Tanya?
It's called a Tanya's Mule. So it was vodka, Breckenridge vodka with ginger beer and, lime. And I think what they did was they filled the glass. Comes in a copper mug. Filled it with vodka, added a splash of ginger beer and a lime wedge, which made my lunch infinitely enjoyable. So, but let's be clear, had I not had that alcoholic beverage, the lunch would have still been fabulous because it was really good diner food.
Good patty melt.
Oh.
And they had some hot sauces that were actually hot.
Yeah.
It's good times.
Yeah, 19th Street Diner. It's 19th and whatever Main Street is in Glenwood. But, what's that highway? Is that
I don't even know.
20...
82, 74.
19,
20,
Albuquerque.
25.
So yeah, and that was good. But yeah, I had they have a half-pound burger. You and I both only ate half of our stuff. We're going to eat the rest for dinner tonight, most
Could've
likely.
split it.
We totally could have.
Should have just split a burger.
Totally could have, but it was so good. Yeah, those were good. But yeah, it was really delightful. And the staff was super awesome.
Super friendly.
So friendly and really right there. It was so good.
A little lax on that part of it, though. But they were like cleaning.
Yeah.
So they weren't just standing around not doing anything, ignoring you.
Yeah.
They were doing stuff.
They were busy. And I think they were going between the two, the bar and the...
Yeah, so there was like multiple sections. There was a whole back section bar.
Also, the guy cooking in the back, every time I order up, he'd yell, "Squirrel!" Which I personally loved. Yeah, so that was...
It was an enjoyable experience.
That was really... I'm glad we tried it, because, yeah...
Highly recommend.
Definitely want to go back.
Especially for diner food. Which
Yes.
diners are dying in Colorado.
Yeah.
Diners used to be thriving businesses in Colorado, but COVID and inflation and all kinds of weirdness. Get rid of the tipping structure. Just charge more money.
Yes, I'll pay it.
And pay your staff.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it'll sort itself out. There might be some growing pains, but it'll sort itself out.
It really will.
And we'll be fine.
It really will, y'all. And yeah, whoever's like, oh, well, you tip people, let them know they're doing a good job. No, you tip them you don't tip them, you give them a living wage. They don't need the tips. Then they're going to be like, great, I'm making $30-$40 and I'm serving and I'm doing great. So,
and I will say this, in the era before everyone just paid with card no matter what, I would say keep the tipping structure because that was cash.
Right.
Cash money. You claimed that, okay, I got $400 in tips today. Yeah, I got $4.84 in tips. Boom. Tax-free money.
Yep.
Okay? I'm all about that. Now you can't do that when you have to claim it because it's now got a digital record for it. And you got to tax your tips so they're even making less tips. Just pay them a wage.
Yeah. And just remember, y'all, they're making food for you and serving it so you don't have to. So yeah, it's worth it. Go let them get more money.
Sure. But that was a worth place.
It was
so
good.
Then we tried to find Stoneyard Distillery's tasting room. They were closed because you can get most of their stuff in Colorado. They distribute a little bit, but everything but the horchata. And they are a local Colorado distillery, and they use beet sugar to make their like rum style liquors.
Yes.
It's definitely hard clear liquor, and they infuse it with flavors. You can get spicy, like I said, the horchata, cinnamon, all kinds of different ones.
Yeah, and we like them too because when we did go visit, they had just opened, I think, and we went in their tasting room, and they were super cool.
Yeah.
So we definitely want to support them, especially being local.
But I think that, the tasting room is not their bread and butter. Distribution is.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is.
It is.
But they were closed, so then we walked around a park that we like, up and down the river, just a little bit, just to get our legs moving.
Yes.
And we were like, we gotta go. We'd stay here all day. It's Glenwood Springs, like I said. And we have things to do tomorrow.
That's
in
right.
the morning that require presence. So we walked around, and then we went through
Glenwood Canyon. It's either my top 3, if not my favorite place on the planet. It's glorious. I know the Grand Canyon is all that. Glenwood Canyon is basically our Colorado's Grand Canyon. It's beautiful.
Well, it's the same river.
Oh, yes. But yeah, so we drove through that, and again, just angling my neck all the way through. I will post pictures of that and video and stuff, but it's glorious, especially, of course, what drove this Saturday excursion was the aspens poking out, so it's autumnal. That made it even better.
Yeah, Glenwood in 2020 or whatever, fires, so it's a crapshoot whether or not there was going to be landslides closing Glenwood Canyon, which adds another. We would have just turned around, gone through Independence Pass again. Screw it. But not as much aspen. But now they have the scrub oaks or whatever. They were turning like the low bushes.
Yeah.
And they were turning red. Yeah. So you saw that everywhere. That's a nice difference from the fire. Like those have started growing. So hopefully that's going to mitigate these landslides that have been happening.
Oh, for our listeners, let's talk a little bit about the aspens and what's unique about an aspen tree. I think I would like you to share that. You're very smart about it.
The world's largest living organism is an aspen.
Yes.
Right.
Sure.
So when you see aspen on the side of a mountain, that's like one tree, one root system, and it clones itself. It doesn't propagate with pollen. Those are basically, instead of, you would call them not trees, but you would call them branches or stems, really. Mm-hmm. But you can call them trees.
Offshoots or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
It just clones itself. So that tree that you would see, they can test it and just find its own root system. And most of the clusters of aspen you see are all one organism with many branches.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, we were on like that hike when we went to Steamboat, the one where you've got the crap bit out of your leg.
I still have that hole in my leg right now.
Dude.
I can feel it. I got bit by something or stung or envenomated for sure.
It was no good.
And it's still kind of like hard and weird on my calf.
It is weird. Well, and you like had a kind of a fever and chills, and you felt
Vomiting,
nauseated.
yeah.
Yep, for a good 24 to 36 hours after that. But yeah, we were on that hike, and I remember, I think we were in a cluster of aspens, and there was a sign there that talked about how it was one organism, and it said, if you carve in one of these, you essentially give it a death sentence. So don't do that. And of course, some stupid had carved right into that one tree.
It.
Because people are stupid, as we've already talked about.
Not you listeners.
No, we hope you're not
stupid.
stupid.
Except for you know who you are.
Yeah, if you're listening right now and you know that you're like, I'm kind of stupid. Yeah. Now, if you drive an Infiniti, you're not automatically the person we're talking about, but you did enter
Black, full-size Infiniti SUV.
Who was driving eastbound on I-70 on September 30th. Yeah, you better know who you are. Yeah, so like my husband said, we are doing this car ride home because we are riding home, and we are in it's not stop and go, it's very slow traffic.
I've been in worse.
Yes, same. Yeah, we should have you all, those of you who've ever been stuck in traffic on I-70 in the mountains, you should leave comments talking about your worst story about that, because everybody's got one if you've done it. I think mine was, I was coming back from, I used to work for a health insurance startup, and I went to Keystone for a fellowship for some conference they were having, and we all started driving on the way back, and somewhere up here in front of us, a semi had caught fire on the highway, which I didn't know at the time. I wound up getting off at Georgetown and just sat and cooled my jets for about 2 hours so I could walk around and work a little bit and recharge my stuff, and got back on the highway, but it took me another 4 hours to get home. It was awful. It was bad.
Well, now.
Yeah, it happens. But what else? Anything else?
That's pretty much it. We stopped after the Glenwood Canyon, put the tops back on, because we saw some rain coming. Never really got rained on, but we got some, highway speeds. It's a little loud.
It is.
So we put those back on. Yeah, that's about it.
So now we're coming up. We're going to start passing Idaho Springs. We are getting ever closer to Denver, but hopefully it won't be too much longer. But thanks for listening, everybody. If obviously, rate the podcast, share it with friends.
Rate the drive.
Rate the drive.
You, right now.
Oh,
You.
We have to rate the drive.
You
Okay.
do.
All right, calm down. I'm going to rate this drive 9.5 out of... No. 10 out of 10. Fluttering golden aspen leaves on their death knell toward the earth. That's 10 out of 10.
10 for you, huh?
Yes, it's been glorious and awesome. Also,
0.
Wow,
I hate leaves.
you've been driving and you also are like don't like leaves dying, so I get it. It's fine. I
Yeah.
like today, so
I give it a 9. Would have been a 10 if we were staying in Glen Springs.
well, but we couldn't do that. We had
That's what I'm saying.
okay. Well, okay, that's not in my power or control, so I feel all right.
I'm
about
not saying
that.
it was.
I know
saying
you're
that's
not.
what would have made it a 10.
Okay, cool.
That's my rating.
All right, well, that's pretty good. So, for those of you who are thinking, now I should probably try to plan a trip out into the mountains of Colorado for leaf peeping.
Next year, because by
Yeah,
Wednesday it's probably gone.
You can't do it this year anymore. I mean, if you go up tomorrow,
It'll be different.
well, it'll still be there, but you could still see the same colors we saw,
It'll
or
be different.
it's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you don't live in the state, don't try to come unless you have a Learjet. You can get out here in the next day or two. It usually is right around the end of September, beginning of October, but it's hit or miss. That's why we all kind of keep our ear to the ground and are like, okay, who's been up there and who can tell us if it's peaking right now?
Every once in a while you get a snowstorm come in. And
Oh.
the peak was literally an hour.
Yep, and it's like,
then
and
the
we're done.
slightly turned leaves are just gone.
Yeah, that's happened on occasion, but
Yeah.
so you do it. It's kind of like well, let me hear what the hot gauze is, and then people are going to tell me I need to go up there and see it. So, but this year was glorious, and so was this ride. 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. All right, so subscribe, y'all. Go visit the blog. You'll see some pictures and listen to the other things we are doing. What? What are you posting? Because I'm slapping my leg.
You're going to hear that like
It's the car ride home. Do you all not make noises in the car on your ride home?
because you're going to hear that like a clap, and your editing mode's going to come in. It's like, I need to edit right here.
I'm not going to edit it. I don't ever do that. I leave this pretty, raw.
You know you.
No. Because, I ain't got no time, I ain't got time for that, so. All right. Love y'all. I don't know if I love you or not. I love you.
Barely tolerate you.
I love you if you're not that Infinity driver. How about that? All right. Take care, everybody. I hope you have a
Signing off.
good fall. Bye.